Sideline of goal! Lakewood are doing it! They're gonna take it! He's gonna bring down Burning. Almost with a double kill. Dropping fast. Monopoint's there. He's still alive! Wait, oh, second slide. He's going one slide. He's going a second. He's taking it back. Oh my God! On three! They're all dead!
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to day number 3 of the Summit 2 by G2A.com, the America region. And, well, we've got through 2 of our best of 1s, and we got 3 more to go. Our current matchup is going to be a toe-to-toe between Navi US and Infinity Stack once again, hopping into it. And this is going to be the start of a triple header now for Navi US. They got 3 games back-to-back now. Joining me by my side, Mr. Mott. Mott, how you doing, my friend?
Feel a little stiff, but good as we're
okay.
jumping into the game.
It's all right, buddy.
Hope
you feel better.
Infinity +4. I mean, I'm actually feeling pretty okay. I'm excited for this matchup. Unfortunately, Navi US are having some internal issues, to put it lightly.
Yes, that's to say it easy.
I talked to Quark quite a bit at ESL, and let's just say that there's a lot to talk about.
Okay, well, I'll talk about nothing we can disclose.
We can't actually we can't actually say anything, but there's a lot to talk about if we could say stuff about it.
Which is heartbreaking, because this is a team of pretty talented individuals, and they were supposed to be one of the most promising teams to kind of go through the whole thing.
Yes.
And now that could be in question, though. To be honest, from what I've seen so far, a lot of the more promising teams have been upset time and time again. I mean, even Sneaky Nick's Assassins I was going to put as the other contender, or number 2 even. And they've already lost 2 games back-to-back. So, really, for at least the American division, it's anyone's game. And we'll find out. I'm sorry?
They're the team to beat. Infinity +4, team to beat, question mark?
Yeah, probably. They're looking pretty good. Them, Team Leviathan also have 2 wins. And, they had to work their way all the way through the qualifiers to get here. And they look pretty sharp. So, I mean, we'll have to see. This is Navi US's debut here into the Summit 2. And they are looking to start strong. Let's go ahead, and we're in the draft right now. And as you can see, for their 1-2 punch, they get a hold of the Skywrath Mage and that Sand King. And for Infinity +4, they got the Visage, they got the Viper, they got some flying critters over here, and of course the Centaur, the 4-legged Beefcake Fiend, more than likely going to be the off-lane presence. And now my question for you, Mott, and I've been waiting a long time for this, and I don't think it's going to happen, but I have been eager to see Fogged play Sand King again. This is a man who was once known as the Mantis King, one of the best as far as Sand Kings go. But I think it's going to be a Skywrath Mage, sadly.
I mean, either or. Like, he's really good on Skywrath Mage. I think he should be playing Sand King, honestly. I don't know. I think Grant might be playing the other support. They were talking about it. Grant was telling me that he's probably going to be a part of a support duo with Fogged. And then I know as well that Korak has been recently trying to transition over to the offlane role, but I don't think he's comfortable there yet with the people that he has on his team. So he'll probably play a core yet again, not in the offlane, more than likely going to be in either the safe lane or the mid lane, and Snaking will rotate around with him. But I think there's a pretty good chance that we see Fogged as a Sand King, because I think it's a lot more hard. I think it's a lot harder to play a Sand King effectively than it is to play a Skywrath effectively, and I think Grant probably is more suited for the Skywrath Mage than he is for a Sand King. But that's just me anyways. But yeah, I don't know.
We'll have to see. Interesting enough, though, they immediately respect ban out the Ogre, which is interesting. They made good use of it last game, and it's been a hero who's been quickly on the rise for a bunch of different teams now. And, given that they do the first pick Visage, they got to get rid of the Drow, just in case it is going to be that standard combo follow-up, though already with the Viper on the hand, and potentially could be looking forward towards like a Medusa, another late game hero that seems to be benefiting a lot from Visage as well on her side. So we'll see if that's something that Infinity +4 will fall back on. Right now, though, they need to isolate a secondary support. They get a hold of the Witch Doctor, which can add a little bit of extra pushing flavor, a little bit extra sustain. That restoration works so nice. And, of course, we'll see if we can look at it go. As always, Navi, they got the Tide Hunter for their offlane grab. Great teamfight presence right there. Great initiation. And already seeing that Infinity had banned out the Spectre, that's a late game presence that could put your heavy initiation into jeopardy with her Haunt, and of course the Radiance Burn could make for some tricky team fights. So they don't have to worry about that too much. So they might just build on this team fight even further. I mean, I would love to see like a core Earthshaker just to make it even that much more oomph and manliness, but we'll have to see how it goes.
I don't think they'll do that. I would like them to do that because they have gotten away from that kind of play style in the past couple of weeks, but I don't know. Right now, there's a lot of team fight for both sides. I mean, like, it's a strictly 6.81 kind of draft coming up from Infinity +4 with a little bit of a 6.82 flavor. The Viper coming out, the Witch Doctor, Centaur, Visage, very strong heroes altogether. Lust played an amazing Visage in the last game, so it's no surprise to pick him up again. For Navi US, I expect to see something. We need a Korok and we need a snaking hero. Whatever heroes those are, we have, yet to be seen. They have to make space for the Sand King, make sure he gets up an early Blink Dagger, and if Fog can get there, I mean, we know how much work he can do if that's going to be his hero, so there's a lot to be seen. They have a minute left in reserve time now for Navi US. They've got a couple of options here. What's it going to be? Let's make a choice, guys.
We'll find out. And, obviously, if people haven't already noticed on the roster layout, we were expecting Navi to roll with a couple of stand-ins, without Brax or Theban now a part of the team, 1437 as he's known. Their stand-in choices, it's going to be Mr. Stand King. I'm not too sure what the alias is on that one. I can't remember what he first came in with. And none other than the legendary, well-known NA Dota man, Mr. Grant, is going to also be playing for Navi US. He's been standing in actually more often and has been, representing a support role, so he might opt to pick up one of the two, either the Sand King or the Skywrath Mage. We'll have to see. But a PA is going to be the core late gamer grab here for Navi US. And now Infinity +4, they might need to consider some late game potential, someone who favors like your MKB or someone who can really contest the heavy quick burst of a Phantom Assassin.
We'll have to wait and see. I think these guys did not watch the last game, I feel like. Or they just don't care. They want to show how to actually play a Phantom Assassin now for Navi US. So,
Navi US.
I mean, it didn't really work for Jiggleblade in the last game. I don't know if it's going to work for Navi US in this game. I think they have a more successful lineup, though, to run it with. Because you don't have an Invoker, and it's not super greedy. I really think that Invoker pick last game pretty much ruined the game for Stay Free, but
10 seconds remaining.
I think this is a better draft from them now, and we'll see if this PA can get lucky with the crits and see what happens.
A lot of universal grabs here too. Won't be given away. More teams have also been bringing in like a Venomancer as a universal grab for a side lane, and something we could look for as well. A little bit extra pushing flavor there. Someone who can soak up the damage and create space for the rest of the team. Because frankly, if you're working your hardest to try to break through those wards and the Venomancer shell, you're pulling attention away from someone like your Phantom Assassin or any sort of late game potential. And it could work to their benefit. And Infinity, though, with the supports already clashed in their off lane, they need to go late game as well. I already said they need someone to contest Phantom Assassin. These teams are really using the clock right now, thinking about what the best opportunity is. Navi need to start out with a strong pace here in the Summit, too. Want to lead things off with a W would be very important for them.
I mean, they need to get back on the winning track.
Snake King's hero. Naga is still in the pool. But I think Snake King might opt instead for Phantom. I really don't know, because Korok is also, I believe I've seen him play.
They could both play Phantom Assassin. It's fine either way. I mean, you expect it to maybe be a Snake King hero just because you associate anything with farming with Snake King, but I think Korok wants to have a Space Creator here, and then Snake King can focus on farming up and getting a Battle Fury and getting a BKB and stuff like that. He just doesn't feel comfortable playing a lot of the Space Creators he loves to play, like playing a Storm. He doesn't necessarily feel comfortable all the time picking that hero anymore, especially in this meta. Not with, a couple of stand-ins behind him. He wants to have a solid team behind him before he can, be able to pick up the heroes he really wants to play. And on top of that, I mean, he also doesn't really like some of the Korok heroes you used to see and used to love, like an Anti-Mage or even a Morphling. Like, he never plays those anymore because he thinks they've been ruined as well. I talked to him about that as well. So
you know what he has played that they could go for technically is a Legion Commander here. They've done it before. It didn't work out so well. That was the first game of the patch, and you need some sort of lockdown to work with Skywrath Mage. This could be something we could see if Navi want to go for. But yeah, it wasn't that beneficial to them. But times have changed. There's been a couple of patches since then, and people have shifted a bit. I actually haven't seen too much Legion Commander as of recently, and well, for the last grab of Infinity, it's going to be the Weaver, the ever so elusive Weaver, who can grab an MKB, should be able to have a formidable offense to go against this PA later down the road.
I mean, you're probably going to see Lincoln's followed by an MKB. You're not going to go for Desolator early here for a Weaver. And you maybe don't even have to go for a Lincoln's. You probably go for BKB instead. But they pick up the Morphling. I guess I'm wrong. I guess that means that PA, yeah, Korok is going to play the PA here, and that Snake King is going to play the Morph. So, dang it. It's a Fog Scarith, not a Fog Sand King. Although Fog Scarith is quite good. He loves that hero,
of course. Skyrath definitely. He likes to play very aggressive. He likes to move around. He likes to take objectives, add pressure elsewhere. You know, it's not like if it is going to be a mid lane Viper, which it might not. SN did play a safe lane, last time, but they could be just very flexible. But if it is going to be Viper in the mid lane, he's not the easiest hero to bring down. So it's going to take a lot of effort, a lot of muscle coming out, put him together with a Sand King, and they should be able to get it done. So we'll have to see. Grand already opting for the Tidehunter role here, so you might see him actually shift over into the off lane. I know he's been notoriously known to play off lane. He also has opted to stand in as a support. So we'll see how it works out here. For Navi US, this is their first debut here in the Summit 2. Looking to get their first victory. Infinity have looked very, very strong here. As I check over, I believe they're 2-0, or are they 1-1?
I think they're 2-0.
2-0.
Yeah.
Two of the teams that are more unknown, Infinity and Leviathan, man, they are both at the top right now, 2-0. So very promising start for them. And, well, it wouldn't be Dota if we didn't have to start out with a timeout called, as they need their last member, who looks like it will be Snake King, to pick up his Morphling.
You were on the Leviathan train when we first got in here, and I was on the Infinity train, I think, a little bit. We were kind of excited. You had watched Leviathan in the qualifiers. I had known Infinity for some time, so it's a good sign for these teams to play well. It's either a good sign for the American squads, like Infinity +4 or Leviathan, or it's an awful sign for Navi US and SNA. Maybe it's a bit of both. I'm kind of nervous as to the futures of both of those squads, but that's right, the Sand King, legendary Sand King.
Sand King.
Blah,
I
blah,
better
blah,
see
blah.
something good from this to have a name like that.
Have you ever seen Arrested Development?
No.
Damn it. Then that joke goes right over your head.
I'm sorry.
I'm just going to say it, blah, 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 for those of you that watch Arrested Development. It's a great, great show. You should definitely check it out. But the Sand King. Yeah, it's excited.
All right, so hopefully it'll be something strong. I know we were talking about in previous drafts that Sand King has quickly become one of the top-notch grads, especially if you have an avid Sand King player on your team. Just the versatility of Burrow Strike, probably one of the best, if not the best, instant stuns in the game you can get for, plus the versatility to just quickly double back into the woods, use that Sandstorm, get a hold of the Blink Dagger very, very quickly, and the next thing you know, he's bringing the pain in these team fights with that Epicenter. So there's a lot of team impact. He does find that farm, so a lot of flexibility. No surprises why that hero is always picked at the front of the heap or banned out. You see also in the hands of like FY, Zai plays one of the best Sand Kings I've seen.
Yes, he's
and
good.
Fogged, of course, was known for his Sand King, the Mantis King for quite a while. Just a fantastic hero.
No one's better than FY God. It's just unfortunate. I mean, he's just so good. That was like one of the things we talked about. Like every time Charlie and I got together after the grand final, I was like, dude, FY is so freaking good. My God. Like every time, like that's just what we would talk about because the plays he made were ridiculous. So you kind of have to wonder, like, where is Sand King on the level of FY God? Like where is he on the meter? Is he up there? Is he, like at Fogged level, who's maybe right below? Or I don't know. I'm not going to put him right below there.
We'll have to find out. We can be the ones to judge the performance, us and everyone watching from home right now, as we do get this game underway, our third game. It's the Summit 2 from Beyond the Summit and by G2A.com. We're in day number 3, our third matchup. We got 5, so 2 more to follow after this one, both featuring Navi US. So 3 opportunities to get 3 wins and put themselves at the top of the charts here for the American region. I'll lead off your introductions for Infinity Stack, who are coming off their previous victory against Stay Free. It's Sna, who's going to be playing your Witch Doctor right behind. It is going to be Infinity. Another pause, apparently, as the mouse cursor is gone, and apparently Snake King is going to have to reconnect. And, well, that's not going to slow my roll. I'll just keep going ahead. We got MJW, who's playing your Centaur War Runner. No surprise. He's been their off-lane player for quite a while now. Lust is playing your Viper, who I would imagine is going to be in the mid lane, and that does leave... Oh, sorry, I had that backwards. It's actually SN playing the Viper, potentially in the mid lane, and Lust, who's playing Visage, and he's played Visage quite a few times. I think he even played it just last game. These games are starting to mesh together.
Yeah, I mean, they really are. They just... I mean, that's what happens when you have 5 games in a row, and just, like, a lot of the same teams play up. You kind of just say, okay, well, they're playing this hero. No, they're playing that hero. It's just kind of... Nice Peruvian pause of snaking. What a player Infinity is. What a guy. For Navi US, I guess the people that are considered to have the advantage in this matchup, the team that is, of course, well, they've been through a lot recently. They've got Stannon, The Stand King, Sand King. That's exciting to see. Going boots first. Fog will play your Skywrath Mage up into the top lane, snaking on your safe lane Morphling. Oh my
Lord
God!
have
Come
mercy.
on!
Are you kidding me, people? This is worse than some of that. I mean, what is the... Hold up! This is taking far too long, and it's rattling my patience. We had already been patient enough to wait like near 20 minutes for everyone to get in this game and ready to go. Now they finally get together. Everyone's rambunctious. People are trying to hoard themselves into the casting bleachers and the unassigned ob slots just to be a part of the action, which I understand this is always some classic American Dota action. But please, we get this moving along. We're already well behind. Beyond the schedule is very much a real thing.
My favorite thing for Navi US players to say, or for me to hear them to say, is to say that Snaking is having issues. That's just my favorite thing to hear. I don't know why, but Fox says Snake doesn't know how to use a computer. Oh, it just gets me, man. It's great. Meanwhile, let's get back to the introductions. Korok is playing your Phantom Assassin. Meanwhile, down bottom, Grant, your off-lane Tidehunter, the base G man, the guy
I owe
himself.
this man a cheese pizza.
That's quite
Definitely.
good.
And I'll get him one.
Wait, why? Why do you owe him a cheese pizza?
He was nice enough to get me a couple of drinks at TI4 and refused to let me play. Believe it or not, Grant is actually a pretty nice guy in real life. For his online persona, everyone knows him as, you know, who he is.
He's very nice. He's
very nice guy in person.
Yeah.
I definitely enjoyed my time, but he can definitely be pretty rambunctious, and we'll see how rambunctious he can be. This is a nice little crotch shot I'm getting right now of Tidehunter, by the way. But, you know, we'll see how rambunctious he can be on this Tidehunter, looking to make the big team fight impact, put him together with your other stand-in. So, you know, we'll have to see the true test of chemistry between these two. Both their stand-ins being their big AoE team fighters, and they really haven't had a whole lot of experience working with the rest of Navi US. We'll see how fluid they can be.
Well, this is going to be an interesting matchup. This could either go really well for Navi US or just really poorly, because I don't see any way that this is, again, a greedy draft with a PA as well as a Morphling. But I feel like if Korok builds this a bit differently, maybe they're a bit more effective with it. But just the reason, I mean, you've seen so many Phantom Assassins recently go Battle Fury, and I just feel like they're kind of shoehorned into that build. Korok also misses his block to Infinity, so that's a problem. Like going against a Weaver mid. He has to pull the crew braids back, although he's doing a nice job of it. But,
Lust has haste. He's scouting out, but he sees a Sand King near, so there's no easy opportunity to open up. But yeah, Weaver mid lane from Infinity. You don't get to see that a whole often, and Weaver's another one of those heroes. He can play anywhere. Safe, off, mid. Don't matter. This bug. Player.
He's fine. And, Fog just kind of ran at Infinity for whatever reason. He said, hey, what's going on? Meanwhile, Snaking's trying to harass down the top lane. He's having a rough time knowing Snaking. I'm sure he's not really happy about it, but you just need to get farmed for both your cores, and hopefully you'll be okay.
It's
but
going to be rough,
is,
though.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely a rough lane for both of these heroes, for both Korok as well as... And this is, again, just a part of me thinking that this might have been an out draft. But again, if it goes late enough, then Snaking will definitely out-carry. Along the, with help from Korok. Like, there's just too much damage to deal with, so...
It's getting to that point, and, you know... There's going to be a point when Stand King is going to want to farm up his Blink Dagger, so he's going to have to leave this top lane and leave Stand King. And I already talked about Fog, how he likes to play very aggressive with his Skywrath Mage, but now he might be forced to be more of a babysitter here, because if they leave Snake King all alone, it's going to be a bit troublesome. I don't know if they were expecting this aggressive tri-lane to be here, you know, with Centaur going to have company. But that's going to be proved to be a bit of a problem here for Snake King early on if they do have to step away and try to find their own bit of farm or own bit of aggression elsewhere. Meanwhile, mid lane, as far as CS, it's Infinity at 8-1. Korok's right there, though, 7-0, and touching base along the bottom. Your Viper going 7-4 against your Tidehunter 5-1. So it's relatively even there. We'll see if Grant can take advantage of having the one-on-one matchup and getting a hold of some early item progression. Maybe a Blink Dagger if he wants to blitz right for it.
Is under attack.
This is the problem when you pick a Sand King, like you talked about. You can't really sit in lane. You have to form your Blink Dagger. They can try to go for a kill, and they might find it on Sna. Sand King decides not to go. Fog pauses immediately because I'm sure Sand King probably disconnected there. I'm sure there's probably an issue. Cred is just like, fuck.
Already, the internal issues even being brought upon, apparently, Grant. Filling the heavy weight. Everyone's apparently using an iBuyPower PC or something.
Oh, shots fired.
What?
Oh, nice. Sand King actually said it to you. Okay, you're good.
iBuyPotato. Nice. I mean, we're on the same wavelength here. We're looking to get it tussled out, so appreciate everyone's patience. This obviously will put us behind a bit, but we will get back in underway. And once again, look at that banner. Infinity's banner, man. What, I don't know what the hell it is.
It's great. It's the best thing ever. Not really, but
Just something else. I mean, imagine this team making it all the way, and we have to like support something like that. That would be
that's
very
going to be on their
interesting.
T-shirts if they come to the house, man.
They don't even have like a solid team logo. They definitely need to work on
That's
that.
their logo, man. I don't know what that is, but that's it. Meanwhile, this is a really rough matchup for Grant. He's not going to be able to get that much CS, but he's surprisingly light at 6, so he's a lot better than I thought he would be. Top lane's just awful. That's just an awful lane for snaking. And knowing him, he's not too happy about that. Korok is, meanwhile, probably trying to calm him down and also getting farm in the mid lane at the same time. So he's actually doing well. He's beating this Weaver currently. So Korok is caught up nicely and is ahead.
Yeah.
And he's trying to really man up on Infinity. And the dagger's probably good. I mean, the dagger does enough damage. I mean, Infinity's squishy enough. That a dagger could probably just take down Infinity pretty effectively.
Yeah,
so.
he keeps throwing it out. He might even bottle crow just to make sure he has a big supply of dagger throws right
Staking
there.
top. Ooh, great waveform.
Cass is not going to be there. He quickly waveforms out from that early bit of harassment right now. And they might just be here long enough for MJW to kind of put himself ahead on the Centaur, and then they could venture elsewhere and let him be up to his own devices here going toe-to-toe against this Na'Vi top lane. But for now, it's working to their benefit, and Centaur's finding his farm. He's 16-4. You know, he could just kind of hold this reserve and also go right for a Blink Dagger in the same, retrospect we're expecting Grant to also get. Grant now is at 8-1 though, and the Viper is putting further and further ahead, now at 22-10. So he's also finding big denies here, and denies are just that much better in this recent patch. Oh, Weaver sneaks in. He does get a hold of that invisibility rune, using the advantage of that Sakuchi. Just kind of sneaks right behind Sand King.
Ooh, nice. And that actually takes the swarm off too, so he just sandstorms and he gets out. Meanwhile, they're chasing after Lust. Lust is going to go down. Korok getting the first blood, manning up, stifling dagger level 3. Phantom Strike getting the kill, and now he's walking on the backside. Fog's getting chased down by Infinity. He will back away. Good kill there.
Yeah, unfortunately didn't catch the overdive right there, but a nice grab from Korok definitely helps him out in this mid lane, contesting already with the CS, but now gets a kill under his belt. So the Swole Man is going to continue to build on up and get the gains in his favor going against this Weaver. And Snake King knows he might be able to take a little bit of advantage here now that it's just a 2-on-1, and he pushes in.
Grant bottom.
It should be fine, and they're pushing on Grant, and they get it. Man, I am on fire for this one, but the back end you can see Grant ultimately gets caught out as Lust does move in and assist the Viper, who had already been well in ahead as far as CS. Now with 1k gold, quickly invests that 1k into his power treads and gets that complete.
Yeah, I mean, this is this bottom lane's an issue, man. I mean, I guess you just kind of have to let this Viper go, and you have to hope that Lust doesn't come down bottom. This does give Snaking room to farm top, but he has 7 last hits. Snaking has 7 last hits. Oh, that's some rough stuff.
Yeah, hoping that there'll be a point when maybe this Infinity top lane will venture elsewhere, where that's going to be when Centaur gets a hold of his level 6 and decides to put it to use elsewhere, but they're all looking to make a go. Concussion flies out, and MJW, they're looking to get a bit of redemption here. He pulls out the hoof stomp, aids him for now, and that restoration going to work. He's even trying to body block here as Sna, but now they turn their attention on him and try to burst him down, and then MJW comes in, but he can't do the same, unfortunately, for the Witch Doctor. So MJW will live for the sacrifice of Sna on that Witch Doctor.
Yeah, but Snaking doesn't get that much out of that. I mean, the Centaur is the high-value target. They couldn't get him because the Burrow Stroke was on cooldown, and if he had a second earlier, they probably get the kill on that Centaur, but he makes his way out of there. He's having a fantastic time. He's already up to 1,000 gold, although he will probably pick up Tranquils first. And at 6 minutes in, the only saving grace for Na'Vi US right now, I feel like, is Korok in this mid lane, and even that is, I mean, he's not winning by that much. Again, though, the first blood does help out, but bottom lane again, Grant, Viper stricken, and he's in trouble.
Oh, man, this is going to be an easy orb walk fest right here, and they're getting it unloaded, and they take him down just like that. Infinity get it done again. But meanwhile, Centaur falls to the neutral creep. It looks like they made advancement on them, and he moved right into the neutral camp and gets himself denied.
Yeah, that was, I don't know why he did that. I guess it's fine. I mean, did he buy his Tranquils beforehand? I don't think so. I don't know why he did that, but I guess it's okay either way.
Well, it looked like they were pressuring him. They might have had the opportunity to go on him, but
I didn't see.
Action was happening at the bottom, so we couldn't catch the beginning of that one, unfortunately, with no DVR feature. We can't really roll back, but they're making a go on Korok here at the top. Korok has to blink away, does get a hold of his buddy Fog, but he's going to need a lot more effort. That Swarm still on tight, and Infinity's not looking to let go. Oh, now he second guesses where to commit on, and now he turns his sights onto Fog. Moves in, gets the Sakuchi catch. Hopefully not to overcommit. He does have time lapse, but he uses the mana right there, so he has to bottle up. But ultimately, he does a little bit of a ring around the Rosie and does take down the Birdman.
Korok, what are you
Is under
doing?
attack.
Okay, that's good. And now the TV coming up from Infinity. That's a nice play from him. You talked about how he had time lapse. Fog wanted to use his Ancient Seal there, but he couldn't get it off. He didn't have the mana for it, so the Shukuchi wouldn't have gone. But
Dyer's bottom
no
tower
such luck.
is under
And
attack.
that's just a dive that you don't usually see at 7 minutes and 45 seconds, but past the tier 2 tower and almost getting 2 kills. So, I mean, Navi US is having a rough game now. Stakey's getting some room to farm, but that's very little. I mean, he's sitting at a Basilius and Boots of Speed at 8 minutes in. That's not where you want to be. That's where you should be at 2 minutes into the game.
Things aren't going to get easier. MJW looking to come in, doesn't have the Stampede to kind of make the call, but Snake quickly pulls out the Replicate, but he catches both the Replicate, and a cast follow-up locks him in his place, and he quickly falls. So if things weren't hard enough for snaking in this top lane, it's just going to continue to get that much worse as they quickly take him down, and then, oh boy, a rough start here on the top lane. Korok right now, the one to pull it out for his team in the early game, 43-2. But this Viper by SN is the king of the crop right now as far as CS. Not only being top 56-16, but he has a couple of pickoffs as well on Grand on the Tidehunter. So he is just easy, breezy, and beautiful right now as he looks to finish out that mechanism.
Yeah, he'll continue on his way towards that. He's very close. He's a couple hundred away from the recipe. They'll put pressure on the tier 1 tower. Grand at least is getting levels. He's got his Ravage now. He's level 6, but again, SN is level 8. So this is a solo versus a solo that has went drastically in one direction and continues to go that way as they're taking the tower. Korok has a Bracer, which might be the beginning of a drum. He actually went for Phase Switch, which is something we see very rarely on Phantom Assassins, but it's good if you want to get involved early on. So I like the choice, but
Dyer's structures are
I don't know
fortified.
what you do for Navi US to get back into this game. You really have to secure Snaky Farm, and it's very difficult as he's getting ganked top, maybe. No, he's fine.
No, I mean, he's 6 now. He has a Stampede, but it looks like they're not going to use it. Grant is the sole defender down here on the bottom while they continue to harass it. About one more push like that, and they should be able to secure that tier 1, especially if help will not be there. And mid lane, Weaver continues to lay it out. He's 46, 47 now in 1 against Korok's 52. Korok is playing it very patient, looking to just play it more focused like we saw Jiggle last game, building up that farm. He's got phase. Looks like he's going to go right for the drums. A little extra stability, durability, and movement speed doesn't hurt too much. But we'll see how it works out here. Fog's been patient. He's now going to pull the creep wave to get the Creequilibrium back towards under the tower for the benefit of Snake King. And he's constantly just going to babysit it out in case they make another jump on him because he needs that assistance. Meanwhile, Stan King is going to scout out this DD on the top and just promptly grab it up for himself. Probably use it as he moves towards the top lane where their engagement order breaks out. Snake King gets very low, but same with MJW. And they both pull back, and Stan King is not going to get there in time to catch anyone. And it looks like it's just going to be a trade. A tit for a tat.
I think if MJW used his double edge there, they'd probably get that kill on Snake King. And I think it was just he didn't want to trade his life away, but I guess he decided against it. So I guess that's fine. I mean, they don't need to try to push the advantage that hard. Korok is trying to get a crit on Infinity. He can't find it. A bit of an aggressive play, but it makes sense. I mean, when you can crit somebody like a Weaver, you can almost kill them in one hit or something like that. But mech's done for SN. He takes the tier 1 tower down bottom, and this is their time for them to pressure and push in and start getting farm. And with that tower, Infinity Frankie now has his treads. He's getting towards, he's got his Aquila, so maybe BKB, Linked Sphere, a couple of options for him. So
Dyer's
Meanwhile,
bottom
Stan
tower
King, he's
is
going to
under
get a third
attack.
stack here on this neutral camp, and this will put him probably right on his Blink Dagger.
yes, that's huge, actually. They
Definitely
really
need
need
a
that.
game changer like this. He hasn't been around to kind of help and be a presence in the lane, but that's what you expect from a Sand King who definitely needs to reach that quota of getting a hold of a Blink Dagger, and that's when he's going to be able to turn. So we'll get a hold of that, and hopefully that will be the breaking point for Navi US to get themselves back into big motivation here on grabbing some additional pickoffs. And SN now migrates from the bottom for the first time, joins mid, and it looks like they're going to go for a push here and try to take a second tier 1 tower in the mid lane.
Yeah, and I like the fact that they made sure that they get
Dyer's
the
middle
farm up on
tower
the
is
Sand King
under
because
attack.
they're not panicking. They're not making it worse by having him not have a Blink Dagger and Sand King not having farm. They have at least one of the two. But now they've got to find a way to defend, and with a mech up, I don't know if level 1 Epicenter is really going to do that much to SN and the Viper and the rest of the squad that are here. And Snake is even maybe going to get caught out the 12-minute rune spot. He's looking for the rune, but Infinity just chases him down, and he can't afford to stay and get that rune, so the bounty just goes
Dyer's
straight
middle
to
tower is
Infinity,
under attack.
and now they go back to putting pressure on this tower. And for Navi, it's just like, well, what are we
This is
doing
their chance,
here?
though. They got Grant waiting on the side. Doesn't have a blink. Oh, the Epi blinking does catch Sna. He's trying to heal up. Stampede doesn't get him quite away. Grant follows up with his own Ravage. They love to get more than just the one Witch Doctor, but Witch Doctor immediately buys back to hopefully go for a big counter fight. Infinity leading the charge. Nice Visage stun locks the two in place, but do they have the follow-up? The cast is going to be there, but now they're getting close to the tower. Snake King's here as well. There's a little bit of harassment. Waveform back, turn their sights onto Korok, and Korok does quickly blink out. So Infinity cannot get anyone on the counterback fight, but will at least hopefully get the tower. But just as I say that, jump in, hoof stomp catches Korok, and they take him down. It's Lust who gets it done, but a return fire from Fog with the Mystic Flare makes it a 2-for-1 trade as they take down the Weaver. Nice grab for them. Sand King pulls out the Sandstorm, and it's going to force the rest of Infinity to try to get back, but ultimately they drop a nice Death Ward, zoning back Snake King, who already committed the waveform, so he gets taken down. Another exchange. Both cores fall at the end of that one on the side of Na'Vi, while only Infinity lose their Weaver, but also gain the tower. So a slight edge for Infinity at the end of that one. Very, very big tip. The biggest one of the game thus far ends up being a 3-for-2. The buyback as well on Sna.
Grant with his Ravage there. Somehow they come out ahead on the gold exchange after that team fight. A lot of that has to do with the buyback and obviously getting some extra gold going their way, but that still didn't go as good as it could have gone. And I'm surprised they even went their way in the first place. But, I mean, Infinity had to work for that fight, and they really didn't need to work that hard. Had they had Centaur to Stampede initiate, that fight probably goes a lot better, but they're doing exactly what they did in the last game, which is ball up and take towers before the pressure from Snake King is on, the pressure from Korok is on. So they'll look to just take down all the outer towers. We'll see if they can get a tier 2 out of this, or a couple of them in that matter, and go from there. So
the farm is just continuing to get so much better. Viper's definitely benefiting from that huge star in the bottom lane. He's already working towards his own personal Agnem Scepter. He has the point booster nearly one component towards it. And for Weaver, who looks like he's on the fast track to going for the drums, he's playing it the safe build for now, not looking to ball straight towards the Lincolns. We'll see if he decides to go more offensive straight up or decides to opt for the defense. Meanwhile, mid lane, they're looking to make a go on the solo MJW, who has to pull out the Stampede to get away. Oh, Korok with the crit DD! Huge damage there, but obviously not going to be enough to take down the 4-hooped Beef Man. And he does pull back with that Stampede.
look at Stain Key, the top lane. He's just sandstorming right in front of them. He burrow strikes on the Sna, and Grant's going to chase after with a gun. They just didn't even know he's there. Big Ravage coming out. Mystic Flare doesn't connect. Meanwhile, Korok getting Viper stricken, but it doesn't matter. Grant anchor smashing up. Stan King sandstorms yet again. There's the agency that cannot take down Infinity. Stan King replicates back in. Time lapse away coming out from Infinity. SN running away. A 1-for-1 exchange. That's a big surprise considering how big that fight was, but they're not done yet. Blink, Burrow, that'll be into MJW. They were looking for Infinity. He's getting low. Waveform will clean it up. Snaking going to town with Lust. He's got a strength morph now. Meanwhile, SN and Lust go into town, trying to get the kill, but Soul Assumption will turn it around. Korok comes back in and then decides to just say, hey, I'm out of here. Let's get out. Time to leave.
Nice big exchange. Korok now one of the lone survivors, though, for Na'Vi US, hanging by the tower. And it ends up being a 3-for-1 at the end of it. The fight recap came in pretty late at the back end of that fight, coming up multiple times.
3-for-2, I think, because of Witch Doctor's eyes.
To make more sense. The Witch Doctor probably fell relatively early and then came back since then.
Yes,
They pull out the glyph here, trick out the last hit, but it will be Infinity who picks it up. Even more gold for him. He was not a casualty of that last skirmish, and he's benefiting from it. Now nearly 1,200 gold here, but he's lingering around too long. Jump in Burrow. The quick Sakuchi. He does dodge that one. And now throws out the Swarm. He wants Fog. Fog throws out Ancient Seal. They would love to get it. Mystic Flare. He soaks up that damage for now, and a very greedy Infinity gets paid and taken down. 9-9 now. Na'Vi US do fire back, taking down the Weaver. A nice grab for them, and a bit of a overzealous play from Infinity.
It's really good that he didn't give that farm away to Snaking or Korok, but at the same time, it's still a big mistake. There's no reason for you to be there. He gets Ancient Sealed. He didn't realize that, hey, I don't have the Lincoln Sphere. I'm just going to die now. So a bit unfortunate, but they take the tier 2 tower top. Stan King misses the Burrow Strike. It ends up not mattering, so I don't know. Snaking's getting back into it, man. He's okay. He's getting a Yasha, it looks like. He's going to go for the casual Yasha E-Blade, which is Snaking's, I guess, his build for the Morphling. I mean, I say that he's probably going to go for this, but there's a good chance he also doesn't go for it, so.
Absolutely. Game progresses, things get more situational. He'll decide how he wants to change it up a bit more, maybe not valuing too much as far as defense, but he has been caught out a couple of times, but that could have been to his own expense. Meanwhile, Korok in a cross pass here with SN. Throws out one flirty attack. He shoots back with his own little flirty letter in that dagger. And they'll just kind of separate from there. Not looking to commit either way as they shuffle back and go back into their own jungles and get their own respective farm. And now we begin to question which team is really going to shine out as the mid game does quickly approach. Korok is valuing up. Getting a hold of this BKB would definitely be huge and allow him to really unload in these fights. And Grant still struggling to throw together what looks like the start of a Blink Dagger, or at least maybe just be the mech holder, it looks like, for his team. So that's going to put him back a bit as far as initiation. Maybe they're banking on the Stand King to jump in and set things up and allow Grant to just waddle himself in and drop down the R-Slam.
Well, I mean, that's going to be the big point of emphasis here, but Korok, look up, buddy.
Right above is MJW, who's waiting for an opportunity to go in with his own Blink and Stampede ready to go. It looks like Navi US are going to just swiftly pull back and not have anything of it. So this is more time for Snaking up here at the top to just get that space and get that farm underway. Looks like there's another item investment heading over. It is going to be the Yasha now complete, as MJW does head up there. Doesn't want to allow him to get too much of a safe time, and now he can take advantage of a solo lane to farm up a bit more.
So this Yasha now means that Snaking can farm the jungle a bit faster. He doesn't have mana regeneration without mid lane.
Nice bait in, though, from Korok, and they make it pay on Infinity. Nice grab there. They were waiting for a moment where Infinity would do something like that. Sakuchi on in, and the quick reaction from Stand King, Sand King, blinks in, gets the burrow, and they just follow up with a heavy burst of that fogged Mystic Flare, and they take him down. Nice bait.
Yeah, they blew him up, and that's another issue. It's just that that is why you see him building a BKB on Infinity, so that doesn't happen again. I mean, even if you have Lincoln Sphere, that is not going to keep you alive in that situation. So BKB is abound coming after both squads, and that's fine. Grant's stacking up this ancient camp. He's trying to get to the mech. He's still far away from it, so he's got a long time. Snaking has been all over the damn map. He's bottom now. He had to replicate. I think he used it to get there, and he'll probably make another one in just a little bit. He's trying to take this tier 1 tower, but he will back away. He doesn't want to go any... He doesn't want to be too aggressive now. He just wants to take what they give him. So
Regeneration.
Can't afford to hand over any unnecessary deaths, but really both sides kind of getting a little proactive, a little too aggressive, and it's not working to their benefit. We saw Snaking earlier in the mid lane, and now we've seen two different times where Infinity feeling a little overconfident in the situation and not really taking a moment to just look at the map as a whole and notice that a lot of the Navi US supports are missing, and he pays for it. So it's an opportunity for Navi US to get right back into this one. Net worth only 2K in advantage for Infinity. Not as big as you'd like. Korok is really, really close now to finishing out his BKB. About 300 away, and he'll have it.
Stampede, where is that? I think
That's
it's just
for, I guess, Sna to get away.
Yeah, I'm not sure. Yeah, Sna was getting chased down, but Korok is now going to start manning up more, and this is what I like about the build for Navi US instead of the game with Jiggle last game. He's actually going right on top of Sna.
He wants it. Mystic Flare right in front, forces him to double back, but that's right back into the hands of Korok. Look at this double rotation coming in. They want to make Korok pay. Desperate TP. Will he get out? No, he will not. Even the burrow coming in from Stan King to try to help out, but it's just too little too late, and he hands himself over as well. That is not how you want to let this game get switched right back over into Infinity 4's hands, as they hand over 2 for just the one Sna Witch Doctor, and now they press down this mid lane.
Just as I was going to compliment Korok, he goes ahead and does something a bit crazy by going in. You knew those rotations were going to come, but again, though, I talked about him getting the BKB early on and fighting rather than just picking up the battlefield and trying to go for the late game. This makes more sense when you're playing against this kind of lineup, so hopefully it works out for them. But Navi US are still behind. They're going to lose another 2-2 tower, although Grant will pick up the tier 1 bottom, and he actually has more than enough to buy his mech now.
If he wants to go for mech, or he might just go for blink if he wants. Yeah. But here we go, rotation back in. There's Stan King back into the fray right now. He does that epicenter and the blink ready to go, but they scout it out. They move in. They even throw out one bird stun, but he won't be here. But that's easily enough space for them to secure the rest of this tier 2 tower. So after the back end of those fights and the tier 2, the wealth begins to build right back up once again for Infinity +4. And now their Weaver going to be very, very close to completing out that BKB. So both cores on each side have a little bit of extra survivability to work with right now. And we'll probably see more team fights get ready to break out here, because Grant does finish out the Blink Dagger. And this could be a big turnaround for them if they want to go into a big, big team fight.
They need to get something going. I think Korok's just going to run up the tower. He's going to try to take it himself. They have Glyph, So, I don't know. Meanwhile, Infinity runs right into the Sand King.
Radiant
Snakey comes through. They want to
structures
bring
are
this
fortified.
down, and I don't know if you're going to defend this. Korok pops the Invis rune.
Oh.
He's going to blink away. He does have his BKB, but he's got to be careful. He
Radiant's
needs to
middle
regen up
tower
before they can
has
try to fight
fallen.
again.
He'll nurse the BKB for now. I guess it's a little space for them to secure that tier 1 tower, but things can get scary that quick, and you have to hope that your allies are just nearby for him to get the quick blink strike off and get out to safety. But we saw how fast he was taken down, and that wasn't even the full Infinity force right there. So he needs to still work on a little bit of extra life on his side. But I would imagine he might look to progress instead and some extra damage. Next attention's going to be here at the top. Snake King's looking to take it in. They might use him as bait, because coming in from behind is Stan King with the big epi and the follow-up from Grant on the Ravage. Does secure the Centaur takedown. They want Infinity next. Ancient Seal's there, and he's nursing instead. He does pull out the time lapse, puts him right back towards the tower. Zoning Death Ward for now, going to shoot Korok back. And a double burrow strike right there over by the secret shop is still a hot Royal Rumble breaking out right now. Korok and Snake King pull out from the backhand side. Same said over here for Navi US, and Infinity looking to get a hold of anyone they can, because it's still only a 1-0 for now. As they press on forward, Manta now complete and purchased from Snake King. They catch up Korok. Korok needs someone to blink to. It is there. It's Grant, who is to his aid. That was a hot mess for a tower.
That was very impressive from Navios. They almost killed Infinity. They plopped down the Skyrath ult right on top of where they knew Infinity would be running to. They got the agency off. As soon as they got the kill on MJW, or whoever it was that was up in front, they propped down the sentry ward right underneath the tower, which was where Infinity was Shikuchi'd, and they just try to kill him as quickly as possible. They don't end up getting the kill, and if they do, that fight goes pretty differently, but it was still pretty impressive to see them do that. I mean, this team has the capability to be this good. Even with stand-ins, they have the potential to be top tier in terms of the talent and what they can produce in the game once they're in a pretty good position. And Saking has rebounded effectively. He's now got his Manta style like you talked about, and they're all of a sudden putting the pressure on Infinity +4, who is a decisively early game lineup here up against Navi US. So, impressive play coming out from the Dire team right now.
Navi US forced some rotations over from Infinity's side, and Korok quickly blinks away from any possible incoming aggression. But now he scouts out. MJW sees him force forward, and he quickly blinks again, really putting that blink strike to use right now. Got to get him away from any sort of pickle. And now instead they scout out the replicate, quickly take it down. They even commit a couple of stuns there from the birds. And it looks like Navi US are playing this game where they kind of keep Infinity guessing as far as where the clash might happen. Snake King is taking advantage of that, building up more and more farm. But he went more damage-oriented, going with the Manta. No Lincolns, no BKB yet for him. Looks like he's just going to continue this farm game out and see if Korok can kind of pull it through in the meantime.
Snake King is pretty good with his replicate, and his morph strength, his strength morph as well, that he probably doesn't really necessarily need a defensive item yet. Maybe later on. But as of right now, I mean, he's just worried about not getting caught up by Stomp, and he'll be okay. Viper Strike's not going to be that effective against him.
They find Snan. He is all alone. This is easy pickings for Korok if he can get it. Whoa, a dagger to the backhand side, and that secures that one. They find a nice quick grab on the Witch Doctor there in the enemy jungle.
Boom, Korok. The PA working out all of a sudden. BKB's done, 2k gold in the bank. His next item, we'll have to wait and see what it is. Still, the top net worth is going to be the Viper because he has the axe, he's building towards BKB, and he's got his mech, obviously. We saw his first item. I just think Navios are going to look to continue to take map control. If they get another pickoff, they probably could take Roche on. I don't think the Witch Doctor is enough for them to take it yet. I don't even know if they have enough damage yet, but sooner rather than later, they're going to go for Roche, especially once they have Ravage, which they do actually have. They have Ravage, they have Epicenter. Level 2 Epicenter, by the way, now done for the Sand King. Level 2 Ravage as well, which I think he might have had in the last fight. So this could be the time where Navi US start really putting on the pressure here, which they already are. So.
And we'll see. They'll really put their team fight potential to the test here. That second level Epi. Looking to bring the pain. Your BKB, though, now going to be complete on your Weaver, so the Epi is not going to look so strong if the timing's going to be right with a quick reaction blink, or BKB rather. We'll see what they're going to prioritize as far as a target in this upcoming team fight. It's Witch Doctor pushing out all by his lonesome here at the bottom. SN is kind of near a bad spot right now. As Navi US are still creeping through the enemy side. Got Snake King leaning out the front. Meanwhile, top lane, it's Grant and Fog side by side to find their farm up there. Fog's got a hold of his staff, looking to build forward into what I would imagine being that Force Staff. And will be able to bring a little bit of extra mobility, whether it's for himself, whether it's for his allies to just help out. And just more all calm on the Western Front, I guess you could say, for both teams. Nice little deny right there for Korok, taking down that sentry. And there's your force staff now complete on Fogged.
Yep. So they're getting items all of a sudden now. They're rich. They're inheriting all of this money out of seemingly nowhere. And even your poorest player still has a force staff and Sunolas and Tranquilism. I think that's pretty solid for them. So they really just need to not panic, play their game, make sure Korok and Snake can continue to get farm, and no one's going to tell Snake he did not farm because he loves to do that. And they're going to smoke. They're trying to grab a kill on him bottom, but he realizes that maybe there is some pressure coming his way, or they might even head over to Roche. But I doubt that's the case. They probably go for a kill here. They might. Oh God. Get out of there,
they
team.
see him. Blink in from MJW, gets a hold of Fogged, and Fogged immediately gets taken down just like that. Doesn't take much muscle at all, and I guess they feel like with a 5 vs 4 now, maybe they move on into the Roche pit and get it done. Unfortunately, it's just going to be a little bounty rune next to it, not your convenient DD that we've seen from time to time, but they start laying it open. Look at Stand King. He's scouting it out.
He's ready.
He's got an Epi in his pocket and a Blink Dagger ready to go if the situation's right. So we'll see how quick Infinity can make work on this. They don't have a whole lot of damage, so it is going to take a little bit of muscle, but meanwhile, they are turning attention here. Navi US trying to at least get a tier 2 in exchange, but here comes the TPs. We're going to see a big clash right here.
This is maybe a rough decision for Infinity +4. But the Visage Familiars and MJW are being very effective in zoning them out. And they might be able to get this. This is going to be very close. Yeah, they're going to take it now.
Oh man, that swarm though scouts out Sand King and he can't follow it up, but Grant doesn't care. He jumps in with a Ravage and moves on to a killing spree. Quicking taking down that Witch Doctor, the easiest target. Korok with BKB Pop looking to make a go. He wants the hoof, man. He gets it. With the help of Snake King waveforming right on through. Weaver's being elusive. He scouted out with the Sentry, but they don't want to go for him. They want Viper, and they get that as well. A 3-man takedown on the follow-up on the back end of the Roche. Makes it very promising. They're going for 4 now. And Fog gets it done with the Mystic Flare. Biggest exchange in favor for Navi US this game. Grants them a 4-0 at the end of that one.
That's a huge team fight. They don't even care that they lost Roche in the Aegis now. That's just so big that it's unbelievable. They don't get Infinity, yes, but they don't lose anybody. And they get a huge fight that only really cost them a Ravage and a BKB. However, Viper didn't use his BKB. They would have liked to got that, but obviously he realized he was going to die, so just a smart play. But they have caught up to Viper now, and all of a sudden you've got a dual core in Korok and Snaking that are destructive and very difficult to deal with. And they are in the driver's seat. And this mid-game lineup that was Infinity's +4 bread and butter really comes down to Infinity and how much work he can do with this Weaver, and I just don't know if it's going to be enough.
I mean, he needs to start building into damage, but not even just damage. He needs to get like an MKB. Because even to get a hold of Korok, it's a coin flip's chance they even get one of your, right clicks in, but it's going to be more troublesome here as you see the E-Blade now. Shotguns up. It's bug hunting season, I guess, for Snake King, as they would love to be able to burst down quickly that Weaver before even a time lapse can pop out here, and they're aggressively moving through the jungle while top lane Korok is scouting out Infinity here. So we have a split. He jumps in. Wow, that crit slashes him immediately down to only a quarter life, and he has to quickly retreat out of there. And if that's the start of what's to come, things have got to be pretty nerve-wracking here for Infinity +4.
And on top of that, Korok is going to have an Abyssal Blade soon, which, I mean, BKB or not, you're going to die, I think, if you're Infinity. So you're like, well, I'm not surviving enough, but I do need more damage, like you mentioned. So you have to make a decision. But I'm pretty sure that you have to build the MKB now. Otherwise, you just straight up lose the game. Because if you can't kill Korok, then you're not killing anybody else, and there's a good chance you're just not winning the fight. So all these items are starting to pay off now. Grant's going to be building into an Oblivion Staff, which he already has. It means that he's going for his Refresh Orb next, and he's not that far off. Once they have that, I don't know any way that they can get in this fight. And MJW playing the Centaurs had a really good game and lost on the Visage and Sna, but they just need so much more. And I think Sna needs an Ags, and actually has it. Okay, well, never mind then. He doesn't need the Ags. He's got it. So that's at least something coming out from Infinity +4.
Ooh, they're moving through aggressively. They're going to see Grant here. Does Grant have the quick trigger finger to get away? Nice. He does. Nice quick blink, though the Viper Strike does connect, but it saves his life. So Grant on his tippy toes right there for that one. Does manage to quickly pop out, and that is a smoke gank that goes nowhere on Infinity +4.
That's just... There's something that that seems easy to do, but it's not always that easy. And again, Grant is just, he's a veteran of this game. He's someone that's played this game for so long. Like, when you talk about old school NA Dota players, he's up there alongside some of the people he's playing with on Navi US, and even some of the people on Infinity +4. I mean, a lot of these players have been playing the game for years now, and that's just something that you necessarily can't teach. And it's really impressive to watch these teams battle it out because it's fun.
Korok, the long ball dagger, slows him down. Can he get a crit? He's got a DD. Doesn't get it yet. Oh, the force forward. He pops his BKB, though, and now he's going to town on Centaur. That removes the DD, but it doesn't matter. Mystic Flare's going to be there as well. Fog gets the kill. Epicenter follow-up. Viper's able to soak up a lot and pop his own BKB. Your Death Ward drops, but it's not going to do a whole lot as they quickly pull back. Grant steps back. He has Ravage ready to go if they want to turn, and they might think about it here. Korok is very low, though, trying to retreat out from this one, and so is Stan King. He does leap away, but he's still so close. Infinity's going to be right there. Force forward. Oh, he needs more damage if he wants to catch up with the burrow zonage. Oh, Korok's thinking about it. He wants to get the dagger off, but Grant jumps in with the Ravage. That forces the Aegis out right now. And we'll see with second life, and now Snake King here. He's happy to unload. Ancient Seal going to pop up on your Infinity Weaver, locks him in his place. Korok is still flirting around. He would love to get a dagger off, but it's not necessary. Shotgun fired right now, takes down the bug. And they want to clean up the rest of these supports. Lust is going to be next to fall. The Mud Golems are even getting on this one. Herpy derpy as ever as they right club him home. And now Sna, unfortunately, is going to be next in line. And for Viper, also there, they only lose the Sand King. Sand King is now they want to get Viper. Nope, they can't pull back. They don't quite have the resources to commit on this one, but still another promising engagement for Navi US. What was a bit of a shaky start for them, and you can tell by the graph, dips right back down in their favor. The biggest gold advancement of this game in their favor, pushing near 8K.
Saving Private Ashworth, my God. Every 5 seconds, Korok is blink striking, getting forced away. Like, he somehow survives that ridiculous chase by Weaver, and then Stan King has the presence of mind to burrow strike right underneath the Shikuchi'd up Weaver. They jump in, they get a big Ravage coming through, the Anchor Smash, they waste up the Aegis, then boom, there comes on top of that the Ethereal Blade from the Morphling. They grab a huge kill, and now you have Morphling picking up a BKB with just the recipe needed for him to complete it up. You have,
Eat that, Sna. Right in the face, but unfortunately not enough to take him down. Snake King just needs a little bit of extra stat work before he can get the big muscle power to take him down. He's real close to his BKB now. Just a single, just shy of $1,000 away. And he was scary enough as it was. Remember, he was what, at like 7 in OCS, about 10 minutes in or something? Like, he had a struggling start, but it's a Morphling. It's Snake King. If he finds the opportunity to build up the farm, this guy's been notoriously known to make the questionable plays for his team, but if he has the opportunity to unload, he will. And we might see it here with him side by side with Korok's PA, who has the Abyssal Blade now complete. This is going to be rough for Infinity, who are on a bit of a momentum swing as they were 2-0 right now in the Summit and came off a nice victory against Stay Free. Their undefeated streak now in question.
And, I mean, to a good team, though. To a team that's playing well. Although with Stan Kings, I mean, that's fine, but Abyssal now done for Korok, and this is just, it's that much scarier. I don't, like, and Infinity's like, I really needed that MKB, and he's not close to it, unless he has a Javelin or two. Now, he is not there, although they do have the Lust Aghanim Scepter now, but imagine that Navi US are going to look to put the pressure on very soon. Maybe wait for the next Roshan, wait for Grant to get his Refresher Orb, which is very close. It's looking really soft.
Oh, they go right for MJW, the beefcake of the team, and well, he doesn't look so beefy now as he gets obliterated on the back end. Fog's been getting a couple of sweet kills with the Mystic Flare there at the end and securing it for his team. And well, there's your off-lane Centaur now down. This allows them to consider going for a push if they'd like, but it's been all snaking in this bottom lane, just split pushing out with the Morph, being as annoying as ever. Really spreading Infinity's team thin right now across the map.
Yeah, this is just standard snaky Goda. He's gonna split push if he's got a hero to do it with, and I mean with the Mantis style you certainly do. So keep them penned in. Viper strike up on the
Viper.
That's right, but I mean it's just an illusion. Obviously the replicate.
Look how much work it takes even just to take down the replicate.
It's gonna live too. That's actually the most ridiculous thing.
So that's like your primary replica target if you want it, but This is the time for Navi US now. They're pushing all lanes. They got them all pushed forward. This is forcing Infinity to be corralled. It's now Navi US who are the shepherds, keeping the Infinity sheep back into their base in their home, not allowing them to go out too far. They have a curfew, and if they go out, got like Officer Korok there to punish you. So Viper Strike flies. He quickly blinks back once it flies out. Won't disjoint, of course, but here we go. Snake King continually add pressure down here, forces Centaur to be committed. Wow, he eats a big shot, takes him down to half life. And this is rough for him. I mean, you're trying to get more farm built up on your Weaver, and he can't really stretch out too far past the base. And what farm he can get is taken away from the rest of his team. Those supports are pretty much going to be hindered at this point with nothing else to bring in. I think it's pretty much Navi US. The hand is around the throat, and they are slowly grasping.
Yeah, I mean, it really just comes down to one fight, and they win the game, I think. And as long as they don't make mistakes, they'll win the game. But as I say that, Sand King's about to die, I think. Sandstorm, he's good to go, actually. He somehow lives.
He's got that Force Staff, the extra mobility's there. He pulls back, making him try to work for it, but they're going to wait. Roche is about to be back up. Once they get the benefit of that extra life, that may be just enough ammunition for them to make that push into the base. Try to put a lid on this game if possible. Korok is first going to clean out this sweet little double stack all for himself. Puts him at about 2k gold. Not too shabby, just in case maybe you need that buyback. Snake King still planting himself on this bottom lane, for God's sakes. What a pain in the ass he's become.
He's going to get this tier 3 tower by just sheer will alone, and then at that point, it's just open season for them. They would like to take the tier 2 tower down mid so that they can transition from getting a Rax bottom to a Rax mid. But now you have to wonder what Korok builds next. I mean, he already has an Abyssal Blade, he has a BKB. You're not going for a Battle Fury. I don't think he really needs an MKB at this point, considering he's not going to be getting a Butterfly anytime soon on Infinity. Maybe more damage, maybe more survivability. I think Helmets of Satanic is probably his next choice. Makes the most sense. Sand King blinks up on the high ground, but he's fine. Aegis, is this cheese as well? Looks like it's not. It's just Aegis coming up before it. Only the second Roshan in a 39-minute game, surprisingly enough. So,
and as the game goes on, it's just not going to get any easier. I mean, the back staff here of Navi US are also building up a lot of farm. Grant, who had a struggling start now, is pretty much one component away from finishing out his refresher. And then he's got the double Ravage locked and loaded. And for most of these games, when we notice the Tidehunter with a double Ravage, it doesn't end too well for the other team. So they might just wait for that pinnacle point, but I think with the benefit of the Aegis, this is the point where they want to press on forward here. It is Korok leading out the front in the mid lane. He has the Aegis. If he can bait out as many of those skills as possible on the side of Infinity, that would be to their benefit. While still, Snake King just takes back his post on the bottom. He wants to be able to sneak in and get a hold of this tier 3. If there's going to be a confrontation on the mid lane, and even if it doesn't work out to Navi US's benefit, Snake King will be right there to take down what he can inside the base.
And this is perfect timing. Refresher's now done for Grant. Meanwhile, top lane, Infinity's doing his best to push in, but he's going to have to TP home soon. He is trying to get to that MKB, and he's not quite there yet. Viper Strike goes on Korok. He's taking a lot of damage because of that Aghanim Scepter. The creep wave gets pushed in, and they realize that this is kind of a bit of an issue. They have to TP somebody back home. And that's probably going to be Staking. They didn't need to have Fog go back, because Staking can just replicate back towards the creep wave, and that's the real benefit of having a Morphling. So Fog maybe could have just stayed there. They can't keep the pressure on mid now. And another respite that does allow Weaver to get his MKB. But with this MKB, that means he has no buyback. So that's the trade-off there.
Oh, man, if they get a gander at this DD rune, the Blueberry rune here at the bottom, that would be
should make my life easier.
Cherry on the cake, I guess, for them to really move on in. I guess it's more cherry on a sundae, not really a cake, right? Oh, well.
I mean, you could just say cherry on top and people will know
Cherry
what
on
you're
top is the safe bet.
That's what I would say, but I mean, I don't know. You can put cherry
Staking
on
doesn't
it.
care. It's my rune. It's my cherry.
Exactly. Staking doesn't give a shit, man. Just let him have his cherry, dude. Let him eat it. But I should note, Korok just tried to Abyssal a Visage Familiar. Yeah, it didn't work out. Sorry, Korok. It's a good try, though, buddy.
All right, Snake King, he's got the ultimate orb. Looks like he's going to just go for a Scotty. And that is a wealth of stats that will be going his way. That shotgun is just going to be now a double barrel, I guess, to really bring it home. I mean, the supports, if they get caught out, that's a near one-hit KO. It's eliminating someone out of the fight for just the expense of a Blade Adaptive Strike. Ain't too shabby. But this is Navi US's game. It would take quite the misplay here to allow Infinity +4 to come back. And now Korok is alone up here. Infinity's nearby. Infinity does have MKB.
This is not a mana fight Infinity can win.
But now with
I
the
don't think so.
Helm of the Dominator and that Leech, he can really go. And with Aegis as well, he's not even going to bother. 2 minutes, though, till that Aegis is going to expire. And Navi US know that, so this is the time to push in all lanes and go for the big fight. And hopefully end this game and get their first win here in the Summit 2.
It's a good start for them. I mean, again, you're right. This is just, it's Navi's game to lose at this point. And there's the Satanic now done for Korok with an Aegis. And down bottom, Snake can get stomped up, double-edged as well, but he doesn't seem to mind. He replicates up. Now he'll waveform away. He actually avoided the Viper Strike by just waveforming, and they're going to initiate on top.
Wow. I get to the last second. They see engagements on bottom with at least 2, so they're like, let's go on top, and they slash down Weaver just like that. Double kill. This might be more than enough for Infinity to throw in the towel, just seeing their precious core go down that quick. Uh-oh, Stan King charges up Epi and blinks away from the hoof stop before he can move in. Gets off big damage. Ravage to follow up. Make it 2 Ravages. Grant, the cheese pizza I owe you, buddy. He gets it done. Ultra kill from Korok as well. Grant falls, but it's a great sacrifice, as that's enough for them to seal the deal on this game. And Infinity will go now 2-1, and Navi US get their first win here in the Summit 2 by G2A.com America.
Grant with the shout out at the end of the game. Solid stuff. I gotta say, I did not think Navi US were going to be able to take the game at the end there, or excuse me, at the beginning with the way things started. Staking with like, I don't know, 10 to 15 CS at like 5 minutes or something. That was just a really rough start. Grant comes in with some big Ravages. Korok proves that, again, he's one of the best players in America, I feel like, with just some of the plays he makes. And Fogged, playing in the Scarith Mage, realizes that, hey, Mystic Flare just blows up bugs. Big victory coming out from Navi US, and a good way to start things off here against the undefeated team, Infinity +4.
So quite the impressive start there. It was a little shaky, though, at the beginning of that one for Navi US, but they are cool, calm, and collect, and even with 2 stand-ins on their side, 2 stand-ins that probably haven't really worked with Navi US a whole lot, they managed to get it done. So props to them, because it looked like Infinity were on quite the roll, but they do quickly end that roll right there. So with that said, Navi US have 2 more matches today to finish it out. Now, I don't know if this is correct. I believe I was told that the swag game is not right. Right here above my head, of course. But they are set to play Pain Gaming next, and that's probably going to be coming up like right now, as we've already been behind the schedule, unfortunately, due to some of these games being a little bit too girthy. With that said, be sure you hang around. I'm actually going to be stepping out. 3 games is apparently my limit. You already saw by my camera. My throat is going a bit crazy right now. So Zyori will be stepping in with co-caster Blaze to finish out your American Division run. If you did like what you heard from myself, you can find me over on Twitter at CoddleGuy, and be sure you check out this handsome devil right next to me. That is Mott, and catch him over on Twitter at MottDota. Mott, thank you so much for joining me, of course, as my co-caster. Any final words before I let you loose?
Thanks for having me. I appreciate it as always. Guys, check out Dota Pit. We'll be back tomorrow with some big matches, including Denial and Virtus Pro. You can check that out over at twitter.com/DotaPit and DotaPit.com for the schedule and info about the game. So make sure you check that out. Twitch.tv/DotaPit for the stream. And again, it's always a pleasure, man. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. All right, everyone, take care. We're going to throw it briefly to some jams, and we'll get ourselves right back in the lobby for our next matchup, which should be Navi US against Pain Gaming. Be back in just a moment.